Welcome to the Sentiment Chef demo. This Angular application uses MongoDB Atlas and Google Cloud's Gemini model to analyze the sentiment of restaurant reviews, extract tags and descriptions from images, and perform full-text search using Atlas Search over review text and image tags. Let's go through the demo. To get started, we need to select a restaurant from the restaurant list that we see here, and the self-guided tutorial will do that for us if we just follow the steps. So the beating heart of the Sentiment Chef demo is the restaurant details page. The data for the restaurants is coming from the sample restaurants dataset that you can import in your Atlas cluster when you create it from the Atlas UI. And the actual magic happens when we leave a review for the restaurant. So let's pretend that we are Clementine and we are leaving this text review here because we visited the restaurant and we really loved the place. So let's click done and see how it gets analyzed by the AI model. So Gemini analyzed the sentiment of our review. We got a positive sentiment label. This could be positive, neutral, or negative, depending on the analysis that was performed by the model. And we also got scores from 1 to 5 in 3 different categories: food, service, and atmosphere. As you can see, we're getting the highest scores for this review in all 3 categories. Let's try out a more negative review and see what happens. The model determined that this review is negative, and we also get low scores in the categories food and service. As you can see, the atmosphere score is not specified because we didn't have enough information in the review, so the model didn't assign a score for this category. And finally, let's try a more succinct, more ambiguous review. Joe here is saying that they came here for drinks. Let's see what label we get from the AI model for this review. As you may have guessed, we are unable to assign a sentiment, so we get a neutral sentiment and we get not specified for all 3 categories. However, when people leave custom reviews for restaurants or for anything else, they usually attach some photos or some videos to commemorate their experience. And usually the media that is supporting their reviews also could carry some sentiment. Let's see what happens if we send the same review but attach some photos to it. And the photos are chosen to be some quite positively looking people having fun at a bar. So let's see what happens when we submit the review with these images. Uploading the images could take a couple of seconds. They will get stored in a Google Cloud Storage bucket, and they will also get analyzed by Gemini using another cloud function that analyzes them after we store them in the Cloud Storage bucket. So as you can see here, we have a group of people drinking beers, and the model created the description for this photo, a group of 4 friends. Well, I would say there are 3 friends, but obviously the models are not always deterministic. And these people are sitting at a table in a restaurant laughing and talking. We got the tags beer, outdoor seating, nightlife. And we also have sentiment for this photo. The sentiment in the image is positive. This is what the model determined. If you take a look at the rest of the photos, you can see that we have similar sentiment and similar tags that were extracted by the model. Now we will attach these photos to our review together with the metadata that was extracted by the generative AI model, and we will submit all that for analysis. This time we got a positive sentiment. Even though we have the same text, the model used the information extracted from these images to assign a positive sentiment label. Now, an important note here is that you might not always get positive sentiment for this review with these images, because again, the model is not deterministic. You might get neutral sentiment in some of cases. Depending on how many times you submit the same review, you will get different results. And if you remember, we also extracted some tags from these images and we generated a description for the images. All of this data will get stored in our Atlas database along with the URL pointing to the photo. Now, this is a really useful metadata that we can use to search for reviews. Let's see how that works. We have a little search bar here saying filter reviews. And let's see what happens when we search for a review with a specific keyword. You can see here now, currently we have 4 reviews, and we will try to filter them by searching for beer. And we get just a result with the image, this first image here, that had a beer in the photo. This is internally using an Atlas search index that is indexing both the text of the review and the image tags and the image descriptions that were extracted from these photos. And the final little AI treat that we have in our demo is this AI generated summary. So we have an Atlas trigger function that watches for any inserted reviews. And when we hit the threshold of 3 reviews for a restaurant, we again go to Gemini and generate a summary based on all 3 reviews. What's even cooler is that this trigger runs once every day, and it will generate a summary once a day based on all of the latest reviews that have been accumulated for the restaurant.